This is not breaking news. This is not a scandal. This is not about one person. This is about a systemic failure, a failure that, if left unchecked, threatens to undermine everything we rely on to hold power accountable. And it's happening right now, in real time, not behind closed doors, not in the far-off corridors of politics. Right here, in the most public of arenas. Every second of it has been documented, every word recorded, every gesture preserved. And what we saw in that courtroom this morning wasn't just a confrontation, it was a test of authority, a test of whether a system, our system, can still enforce its most basic rules. For a moment, the very thing that binds this country together was pushed to the edge. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't a scandal, it was quiet, but it was dangerous. And in this silence, the stakes couldn't be higher. We're about to walk through what happened, step by step. Because in moments like this, the details matter far more than the headlines. Before we step inside that courtroom, though, you need to understand something. This wasn't a random moment. This was a pattern that's been building for a long time. So let's start there. You might be thinking, why does this matter? What's the big deal? The big deal is this. What truly controls the system now is not the people we elect or the institutions we've trusted for centuries. It's something far more dangerous. Power today operates not in the public eye, but behind the curtain. It's a web of networks, strategies, and subtle maneuvers that outpace the traditional checks and balances we thought we understood. This isn't a failure of one man or one office. This is a systemic problem. For years, the courts have functioned as a final bastion against the chaos that can overtake political systems. But now, we're witnessing something new, something different. The system that was meant to keep power in check is being tested in ways it hasn't been before. And that's the mechanism. That's what you need to understand. Not one person, not one incident. This is bigger. The question is, can it hold? Can it still work the way it was supposed to? Let's look at how we got here. What happens when something shifts slowly, almost imperceptibly? When it happens so gradually that we forget to notice it until it's already too late? That's the danger we're dealing with now. A shift that's been taking place over years, but that only now, only in moments like this, becomes crystal clear. Before, the courtroom was a place of quiet authority, a place where no matter your background, no matter your power, everyone played by the same rules. But now, that's changing. Slowly, quietly, almost under the radar. What used to be a controlled environment is now a battlefield, a stage where power plays out in real time. And we're watching it happen. We're watching the erosion of the very system that was designed to keep this country's institutions intact. This wasn't a sudden collapse. It wasn't a dramatic crash. This was a long, steady erosion, a change so slow we couldn't see it coming. But now it's here, and it's threatening everything we thought we could rely on. So what happens next? And then just like that, it happened. In the middle of a routine session, with the usual witnesses, the usual questions, something snapped. Donald Trump, sitting at that defense table, broke the silence. Not with a whisper, not with a passing comment. No, this time it was different. He spoke out loud. That's a complete lie. A direct challenge. A sharp, loud disruption. And in that moment, the entire room froze. The tension, immediate. Everyone in that courtroom, attorneys, witnesses, spectators, felt it. You could hear a pin drop. The cameras zoomed in. The judge looked up, removing his reading glasses, as if he knew what was coming next. What followed was a stark warning. You will not speak unless you are addressed. But Trump didn't retreat. He leaned back, unfazed, and said, this whole thing is a joke. This wasn't just a slip-up. This was a direct challenge, a test, a provocation, and that's where things started to spiral. So let's break this down, because it's not just about what happened in that moment. It's about what's really going on beneath the surface. Trump's behavior, it wasn't a random outburst. It wasn't impulsive. This was calculated. Every move was a test. Each word, each defiant action designed to provoke, to push, to find a crack in the system. But here's the thing. The system isn't as fragile as it might seem. It's stronger than most people think. What's happening here is a fundamental clash between two forces. On one side, we have a defendant who believes that he can bend the rules, manipulate the system, and come out unscathed. On the other, you have a federal judge, an institution in itself whose sole job is to ensure the system runs according to its laws without exception. Judge Engoron wasn't just reacting to Trump's outburst. He was sending a message, a very clear, very direct message. This is a system that operates on accountability. So who stands to gain from this? Trump's legal team? Sure. They're hoping for a mistrial or a technicality that might save their client. But who absorbs the damage? The very system that's been tested. And that's where the danger lies. But it didn't stop there, not by a long shot. Trump didn't back down. In fact, he doubled down. The judge issued another warning. And Trump, he scoffed. "Kangaroo court," he muttered. A blatant mockery right in front of the judge. The tension in that room, unbearable. And it wasn't just the judge who felt it. Every person there knew what was at stake. They could see what was happening. They could feel the stakes rise with every word. And then came the final warning, the one that made the whole room hold its breath. "Sit down now, or I will have you removed." At that moment, the entire courtroom knew this wasn't a simple hearing anymore. This was a battle for control, for authority, and for the future of the trial itself. Trump didn't comply. He remained standing, arms crossed, defiantly staring down the judge. And that's when his attorneys rushed in, pleading for a sidebar. But it was too late. The system was already under siege. Let's step back for a moment. You're watching this unfold in real time, but imagine what it's like for the people inside that courtroom. Imagine what it's like for the judge, who has to remain calm under pressure. For the attorneys, who are caught in the middle of a political storm they never signed up for. And most of all, think about Trump's legal team. They know that if he doesn't sit down, the entire case could unravel. They're not just worried about their client's behavior, they're worried about something much bigger. For them, this is no longer just about defending a client. It's about defending the integrity of the legal process itself. They know that a courtroom is only as strong as its ability to maintain order. And when that order is threatened, everything falls apart. Now, think about you. What does this moment say about the state of our legal system? What happens when the people we trust to uphold the law stop following the rules? And if this is happening now, where does it lead? But this is no longer just about one courtroom. It's bigger than that. What we're witnessing isn't an isolated incident. It's a ripple, a shockwave that's beginning to extend far beyond the walls of that courthouse. Because when you push the limits of the American legal system, you don't just shake up one case. You start to unsettle the entire structure. The effects of one person's actions, one deliberate provocation, start to spread. And it's not just about the U.S. legal system. This kind of instability, this defiance of authority, sends a message far beyond our borders. The world is watching. How will this influence other global leaders, other institutions? How will this set the tone for how power plays out on the international stage? This isn't just a legal battle anymore. It's a test for the entire system, one that will be felt long after the courtroom doors close. And that's the part that should really make you uneasy. So, what comes next? We're at a crossroads. And the path ahead could go in three very different directions. First, there's the possibility of asterisk, asterisk, adjustment, asterisk, asterisk. Maybe Trump complies. Maybe the system, for all its cracks and vulnerabilities, manages to hold strong. The legal machinery grinds on. And this moment is remembered as the turning point when the system reasserted control. But there's also the chance of asterisk, asterisk, erosion, asterisk, asterisk. What if this moment doesn't lead to change, but to a slow, steady degradation? The courtroom chaos becomes a new normal, an accepted part of the process. If the system bends to this kind of defiance, it could erode the trust we place in it, piece by piece. And then there's asterisk, asterisk, rupture, asterisk, asterisk, the most dangerous outcome. What if this is just the beginning? What if Trump's behavior is the spark that ignites a much larger constitutional crisis? A system pushed too far, where the foundational structures begin to crack and everything we've come to rely on starts to break down. Which path will we follow? The truth is, we don't know yet. But the pressure is building. So here we are, at the edge of a precipice with no clear way forward. This is not the kind of story that resolves neatly. This is not about comfort or certainty. It's about what happens when the foundations of our system are tested not by the unseen, but by the very figures we've entrusted to uphold it. What happens when someone with immense power decides that the rules no longer apply to them? The courtroom held today, yes. But tomorrow, who knows? What we witnessed wasn't an isolated outburst. It was a direct challenge to the very integrity of the judicial system. And if that system can't hold here, in this moment, where else can it stand? The stakes are higher than ever, and the clock is ticking. If you want to understand where this could all lead, if you want to dive deeper into the forces at play here, then don't look away now, because the next chapter is already unfolding. And it will decide the future of everything we've come to believe about justice, power, and authority. The question is, will it hold?